So maybe you wandered into your first Acro Jam or class or a workshop or a festival and you saw a bunch of people twirling through the air, being thrown through the air, and you say to yourself, how do I get strong enough to do that? You think that that's usually the wrong question, at least at the early stages, because it's usually more a lack of flexibility, of skill, of proprioception, of awareness of what's going on among the two bodies you're dealing with, more than it ever is strength in the beginning stages. But there does come a time when your skills and proprioception and awareness have improved enough that strength is legitimately holding you back. And when that time comes, a lot of people aren't sure what they should do to actually get stronger in a way that will make them better at basing. So that's what I want to talk about today. So first off, I'm making this video because I seem to get asked this question a lot, and I'm going to refer people to this video in the future. But just so you know, I'm not a professional acrobat, nor do I train like one. I spend most of my day sitting at a desk, as I imagine a lot of people do. But I recently found these two old pictures from the first 2 Acro Jams that I ever attended. If you notice, I'm a lot scrawnier. I don't have a background in strength training and being particularly athletic. I was actually technically obese when I was younger, and now, a little more than 5 years later, I actually have some muscle on my body. It just kind of snuck up on me. At first, a lack of protein was holding me back a little bit, but once I rectified that, a methodical and consistent strength training program pretty much did it for me. If you want more information on protein, see my article linked in the corner. So at the risk of oversimplification, there are 3 main movement chains that you're going to want to strengthen for L basing, and an additional one if you want to include standing as well. That's not to say that other movement chains are not important or that they have no carryover into basing. I think they do, but these 4 are the main ones that you'll want to focus your attention on. So first, basers are asked to do a ton with their legs. They need both muscular strength and muscular endurance in the legs. You can build that up through the squat chain. Squats, jumps, and more advanced variations of squats like pistols are going to be the way that you're going to build up this chain. Second, you're going to want to build up the forward push chain. Things like push-ups and explosive push-ups and bench presses and stuff like that is how you would work this chain. Finally, you're going to need great core strength and stability, and my favorite ways to work on that are hollow bodies, hollow body rocks, and hanging leg raises. Finally, if you want to take things just from the L basing realm into standing, you're going to eventually need good overhead pressing or overhead stability. You could pair this with the forward pressing chain. Some people do. I'm pairing it as its own chain because they're kind of worked by separate moves, and some of the options there are handstands, handstand push-ups, if you're using barbells like a military press and push press. All right, brace yourself. I'm about to blaspheme against the gods of hypertrophy. So I think that training with weights, with barbells, is fine. You can do everything that I'm going to be talking about with barbells. But I actually don't think that you need weights. I think that you are perfectly capable of getting stronger using only calisthenics, which is 95% of the training that I do. I think that people who don't understand how to make strength progress with calisthenics just don't understand the concept of progressions and how to do that properly. Without that, you're gonna plateau. Calisthenics are great because you don't need an acro partner in order to get stronger and fitter. You don't have to waste time driving to a gym. If you have a floor and a wall and preferably maybe a pull-up bar either in your house or at your local park, you can make a lot of progress, and you can do it on your own time. It's really convenient. It's pretty much free. But besides calisthenics, you should also probably devote part of your acro practice specifically to getting stronger for acro while you have a partner with you. And it's two-sided. You're going to work on skill and strength at the same time with your partner. If you're brand new to acro and you want to work the squat chain, front plank squats are probably a good place to start. Maybe 3 sets of, maybe you can only do 4, but eventually working your way up to 10 or 12 reps per set. Thrown squats are a slightly harder variation you can do the same thing with. I highly suggest at the end of every training session that you do some very high repetition, low skill activities to failure. If you have front plank pops, then try to do them till you utterly cannot do any more for several sets. This is because most people tire out before they've been able to do enough of a particular challenging skill to make progress. But if you work on your muscular endurance through this kind of training, you will have the endurance to do multiple repetitions of a hard skill and eventually figure it out. Icarian thrown pops into front plank are another great option here. On the muscular strength front, I highly suggest monolimb presses. The flyer is going to work on their ability to balance in this move, and the closer your knee gets to the ground, the harder it is for them. But you're getting most of the weight in that one leg in pressing, and that's going to make you a lot stronger. It's pretty much the equivalent of pistols. When it comes to specific calisthenic progressions, I don't feel like I need to reinvent the wheel here because other people have done a good job of it already. There's a subreddit on Reddit called Bodyweight Fitness, which has great progressions and other good info. It's a good community if you have questions. Also, I suggest the book Convict Conditioning, which is really corny. It has a prison theme, but it actually does have great information on progressions and rest periods and sets and reps and how to make progress by properly planning a workout. So it's a good read. So how to train the push chain with partner acrobatics. Bird on hand presses are a great starting point. It will teach you the skill of balancing your partner as they shift around. They'll learn about staying tight and managing their leg position, and doing lots of reps will make you stronger. If you have a foot to hand or hand to hand practice, it can be great to just do sets for reps of those. It's a skilled activity. You're going to get better at those moves, as will your partner as you do them. It will also get you stronger. In terms of calisthenic progressions, again, this is nothing special, just not reinventing the wheel. Sources are in the video notes once again, but I do want to take a moment to explore what I think is a common fallacy, and that is that pressing motions using your own body weight, like push-ups, cannot really make you much stronger beyond a very limited point. I hear this pretty frequently. So get out a bathroom scale and do a plank on it with your hands on it, and you'll get an amount of weight. This represents, for most guys with a reasonable amount of upper body build, somewhere around 70% of their total body weight. It will be somewhat lower for women or people who have less muscular upper bodies. The point being that that's what you're pressing during a regular push-up. As you go through and do ever more taxing and disadvantaged through leverage progressions, you're putting more and more weight on your arms until you're doing one arm push-ups, and that is doing 70% of your body weight with one arm. So that's the equivalent of a pretty decent bench press. This is my friend Adam. He's about 220 pounds, and obviously this isn't a full press out of star into hand-to-hand because my elbows aren't fully bent, but I have no problem getting them up, and I could do someone heavier if they had a decent line. So personally, I just don't buy the explanation that you can't get strong with calisthenics because it seems to have worked for me. All right, let's move on to core strength and stability. It's a major issue for a lot of new bases. You'll see them, with a flyer in bird or thrown, and they're losing them over their head, or they're losing them back towards the flyer's feet. And the reason is they just aren't strong enough to stabilize with their legs in a 90-degree position most of the time. So just doing more dynamic acro over time will improve this, but from a calisthenics perspective, I really like hollow body holds, just like doing sets of 1-minute holds. Hands over head is harder, making sure your low back is on the ground. It'll not only really develop your core strength, but you will also learn good handstand form. Hollow body rocks are challenging and really great. Hanging off a pull-up bar and raising your legs 90 degrees or all the way to the bar is great. I like these. Do it with one arm and do an L-sit. Alright, so overhead pressing motions used for all the cool standing stuff, your foot to hands, your hand to hands, your extended work. These are actually, from a calisthenics perspective, really near and dear to my heart. I got hit by a truck while riding my bike 2 years ago, and I was really messed up. I had compressed nerves in my neck, which messed with my left shoulder. I couldn't even really lift any weight above shoulder height for a long time. It took me 6 months to get the compressed nerve situation figured out. But even then, I was really weak. I was still maybe at like 65 or 70% strength in my ability to use my left shoulder. And I rebuilt over time, over these last 2 years, up to about 90% of my strength and stability. Actually, higher stability, probably not quite as much in the strength department. And I really, really have a high opinion of just simple progressions of calisthenics, because I feel like they played a large role in healing what would otherwise have been like a lifelong issue if I had not specifically addressed it through simple movements. In terms of calisthenic progressions, this is what I originally built myself up with and what I have been rebuilding myself with. Right now, I can't really do a handstand or headstand push-up with my arms as close into my body as I'd like. I'm still too wide, but I'm getting closer over time. And eventually I'd like to once again be able to do a full handstand push-up, which is done on an elevated object. That covers all the major strength buckets. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments below on YouTube. If you want the links to stuff I've talked about, it'll be in the video notes. One final note, anytime you're doing strength training with a partner, particularly strength training to exhaustion to build up muscular endurance, make sure you have a spotter if you have the slightest bit of doubt about your ability to pull this stuff off. Don't risk hurting your flyer trying to become a stronger base. Hope this was useful. Hope it helps a few of you guys become stronger bases. Good luck. See you later.